Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
So if you've ever made a vegetable casserole and it just turned into a soggy mess.
Or a veggie burger that was just bland.
Exactly. Or my personal favorite, a watery soup that was supposed to be creamy.
Yeah.
Then this deep dive is definitely for you. We are getting into the science of it all, looking at how America's Test Kitchen, or ATK, really engineers flavor in vegetarian cooking.
That's right. We're breaking down the complete vegetarian cookbook. And this isn't just, a blog with some recipes. It's more like a scientific journal.
It really is.
If you know ATK, you know they start with one big question. What is the absolute best way to make this dish? And more importantly, why does it work?
Their mission statement says it all. They start with a complete lack of preconceptions. They don't just accept that a technique works, they have to prove it.
Right.
The goal, they say, is to investigate the fundamental principles of cooking so that you become a better cook. It's about the method, not just the single recipe.
And that method is backed by just an incredible amount of testing. You're talking about a team of over 50 test cooks.
In a 60,000 square foot kitchen.
Exactly. They test everything again and again through blind taste tests until they land on what is, objectively the best approach.
The scale of this book is huge. Over 700 recipes. But they've made it really approachable. Like over 300 of them are quick, 45 minutes or less. And they have almost 500 recipes marked vegan or gluten-free, which is a huge help.
And that gets us to why we're doing this deep dive. We're not just listing recipes. We want to pull out the principles behind it all.
The core philosophy.
The core philosophy, yeah. That good cooking is based on objective techniques. Things you can measure that work every single time. As they say, we make the mistakes so you don't have to.
Okay, so let's start where they do, with the absolute foundation.
Yeah.
Chapter 2. Vegetarian basics. This is all about building flavor before you even start cooking.
Absolutely, because that's the biggest challenge in vegetarian cooking, right? Avoiding blandness.
Right.
So they focus on a pantry of what they call essential flavor builders, different oils, vinegars for acidity, good vegetable broths, soy sauce for that umami.
And things like dried mushrooms and tomato paste.
Concentrated flavors, things that add the depth you might otherwise get from meat.
They also argue pretty strongly for good equipment. Not just for show, but for efficiency. A good chef's knife, a food processor.
Well, it's about consistency. If your
Yeah.
prep work is consistent, your cooking will be consistent.
So if you use a mandolin to slice potatoes, every slice is the same thickness.
And they all cook perfectly evenly. That's a scientific outcome. It's not just about, looking professional. It's functional.
What I love is how they break down the function of everything. It's not just add tomato paste. It's add tomato paste because it's full of glutamates that create umami when you caramelize them.
Precisely. They want you to know the why. Now, we should probably add a little context here. This approach of layering lots of flavor builders, it's fantastic, but it might not appeal to, say, a minimalist who believes you should only use fresh, whole foods.
That's a good point. So you, the listener, kind of have to decide where you fall on that spectrum.
Exactly. ATK gives you the reliable, objective method. How you apply it is up to your own philosophy.
All right, let's get to the really good stuff. The aha moments. These are the techniques they developed to solve all those common vegetarian cooking problems.
Yes.
And we have to start with the biggest one. The soggy vegetal dish. The watery casserole.
The enemy of good texture. It just ruins a dish.
So what's their fix?
It all comes down to moisture management. It's a science.
Yeah.
For something like a gratin with zucchini or eggplant, you have to salt the vegetables fat and let them drain.
For how long?
For up to 45 minutes.
45 minutes just to drain. I mean, come on, that feels a little obsessive, doesn't it? Is a home cook really going to do that?
I know it sounds like a lot, but they tested it. They found that if you don't draw out that excess water before you assemble the dish, it all comes out during baking.
And you get soup.
You get vegetable soup instead of a creamy, structured gratin. That 45 minutes is the difference between success and failure. It guarantees the final texture.
And they apply that thinking to everything.
Yeah.
For a potato gratin, they specifically call for plum tomatoes
Less juice.
and russet potatoes.
Higher starch. So they soak up any liquid that's left. It's a two-part attack on sogginess.
It really is an engineering approach.
It is. And the salting is doing two things. With eggplant, it's not just pulling out water. It's actually concentrating the flavor by drawing out these molecules that are attached to the proteins.
So it's a texture and a flavor technique.
Exactly.
Okay, that's brilliant. Now let's talk about liquids. My absolute favorite discovery was their secret to a truly creamy soup without any cream.
This is from their soups chapter, yeah. The creamless, creamy tomato soup. After testing all sorts of thickeners, they landed on something so simple. Torn up pieces of white sandwich bread.
Bread. Seriously, not like a fancy rice or a potato starch, just bread.
Just regular sandwich bread. You blend it right into the soup, it absorbs the liquid, adds this incredible body, and it perfectly mimics the mouthfeel of heavy cream.
That's amazing.
Then they just add a little brown sugar to cut the acidity from the tomatoes, and you get this perfectly balanced, velvety soup.
And on the subject of soups, they really go deep on vegetable broth. Their homemade version sounds intense.
It's complex, yeah, but it's designed to solve a problem: bitterness. A lot of homemade vegetable stocks can get bitter.
So what's their secret?
On top of the usual stuff like leeks and carrots, they add umami bombs, dried onion, tomato paste, and soy sauce.
Okay, I can see how that would add incredible depth.
Yeah.
But I have to ask the practical question here.
I know where you're going.
Making gallons of your own broth, that's a huge time commitment. And there are some really good store-bought options now.
There are, and this is that classic trade-off, right? Perfection versus practicality. ATK will always give you the perfect method. It's up to you to decide if it's worth the time.
Right.
But the principle is still useful. Even if you use store-bought broth, you can boost it with a spoonful of tomato paste or a splash of soy sauce.
That's a great takeaway. Let's shift to grains and beans. Chapter 7. This is where they really get into flavor infusion.
Oh, this is so smart. Their Cuban-style black beans and rice is the perfect example. The big idea is incredibly simple.
You cook the rice.
In the liquid left over from cooking the beans.
So all that flavor, the garlic, the onion, the spices, everything from the beans, gets cooked directly into the rice. You're not making two separate things.
Exactly. It becomes one cohesive dish. And that flavor starts way back with how you prep the beans. They say you should soak dried beans in salted water.
And there's a reason for that, I'm guessing?
There is. It's chemistry. The salt ions basically swap places with ions in the bean skins that keep them tough, so the skins soften at the same rate as the insides cook.
So you don't get that thing where the inside is mush, but the skin is still hard.
You never get it. The beans cook perfectly evenly and hold their shaves. It's another technique to prevent mushiness, just like with the gratin.
The principles just keep showing up everywhere. Let's talk about how versatile the book is, because it's not just mains and sides.
The range is incredible. You've got Chapter 10 on flatbreads and pizza, everything from naan to lavash to soka, which is a chickpea flour flatbread.
And I bet they bring back the salting technique for pizza toppings.
You know it. If you're putting fresh tomatoes or zucchini on a pizza or a tart, you have to salt and drain them first, otherwise you get a soggy crust.
Control the moisture, control the texture.
It's the mantra, and it leads right into their veggie burgers in the next chapter.
Ah, the ultimate veggie burger. I was so curious about this.
They really cracked it. It's made from lentils, mushrooms, and cashews. Each ingredient has a job.
Okay, break it down for me.
The lentils are the earthy base, the structure. The mushrooms give you that deep, savory umami flavor. And the cashews, that's the fat. That's what keeps it from being dry and crumbly.
It's an engineered patty.
Totally. And for their black bean burgers, they get even more specific. They mash some of the beans, but leave others whole.
For texture.
For texture. So it's not just a uniform paste. You get a real bite.
This attention to detail carries over into everything, even eggs.
A staple protein. They found that for scrambled eggs, using half and half is way better than milk.
The higher fat content again.
Right. It makes them richer, fluffier. And for quiche, you have to partially bake the crust first. Always. No soggy bottoms.
And beyond eggs, they show how you can use things like tempeh or tofu in all these global dishes. Curried tempeh, spicy gazpacho.
And while they do a great job showing how versatile beans and soy can be, we also have to be realistic, you know?
What do you mean?
Just that not everyone loves beans or tofu, and some people have digestive issues with them. So while the recipes are perfectly engineered, their appeal isn't universal. You have to find what works for you.
That's a fair point. Let's wrap up with some of the fresh stuffed salads and snacks, because the techniques even matter there.
Absolutely. For salads, of course, they talk about good oil and vinegar, but the key is technique, like massaging kale.
You physically rub the dressing into the leaves.
Yeah. It breaks down the tough cell walls and makes the kale tender and delicious. It's a completely different experience from just tossing it.
And I'm guessing you still need to drain your cucumbers and tomatoes for a salad.
You have to. If you don't, you get a puddle of water at the bottom of your salad bowl. The rule never changes.
And for snacks.
Same focus on texture. For their chunky guacamole, they use a mix of mashed avocado for creaminess and diced avocado for bite.
So you get both textures in one.
And for baba ganoush, they insist you have to roast the eggplant until it's totally collapsed. That's where you get that deep, smoky flavor you just can't get any other way.
So when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway for someone listening to this?
I think the real value here isn't the number of recipes. It's the handful of repeatable scientific techniques.
Right.
Salting to manage moisture, using bread for a creamy texture, infusing rice with flavor. If you master those core ideas, you can apply them to anything. They're objective shortcuts to better cooking.
It's the blueprint, the reliable shortcut to being a better cook.
And once you have those principles, your cooking goes from being hit or miss to being reliably great.
So we know that salting prevents soggy gratins and tarts. But here's a thought for you to take with you. What other recipes in your rotation could be, completely transformed if you applied that moisture-draining technique to something else? Think about the mushrooms you saute that always end up steaming in their own water, or the fresh spinach you put in a filling that makes it all wet. The principle works everywhere.
It really changes how you think about ingredients. You start thinking about water content first.
That's it for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.